opportunity this sort of window presents to play across the road at this famous stadium?
Yeah, of course, it's an exciting week for everybody. Something we've been looking forward to since the game was announced. It's another big step for us on the path we're on, another top opposition, and a great opportunity for us to test ourselves against world-class opponents. So yeah, it's of course a special venue, especially for the ones of us who have played in the UK. It's not somewhere you get the opportunity to play very often, if ever. So it's yeah, we'll be looking to embrace it wholeheartedly and put in a good display.
Do you have great memories like the rest of the team of bouncing into school that day in 2003 after the Upton Park result?
Yeah, of course. It was a big moment, kind of in the development of where that team was heading towards 2006. That was probably a big stepping stone on that pathway. And yeah, I think it's obviously, even though it was a friendly, it's a memorable result in Australian football history. So yeah, I remember it well.
Can this game be a similar sort of moment for this group, which is also building towards something big as well?
Yeah, of course. I think every time we play together, it's an opportunity to make a statement and create special moments and special memories. That's why you play international football. It's what you dream about as a kid, to play on the big stage and create those kinds of memories, whether it's in a friendly or in a major competition. It's every game presents that opportunity.
What about for yourself, Jackson? You've become a cult figure in Germany and everybody knows you now. Do you feel as though this is another good stepping stone for yourself personally, or do you not think in those terms?
To a certain degree, of course. It's for me, it's probably more a reward for the kind of path and progress I've made throughout my own career. But if my position within this team now is very different, whereas as a senior player and got to be that that kind of stone and that can hold the team together in ways amongst the players with less international experience. So of course I'm, as much as anyone, I'm a football romantic, and playing at Wembley against England is a huge moment for myself. But it's in the context of where we are as a group and as a team, it's probably a different role for me to take on Friday night.
There's looking at that team in 2003 that won, there were these sort of iconic figures for Australian football, guys who were big in the top flight of English football. Why are there no Socceroos in the top flight of English football at the moment? And do you think that that's about to break and that we will find more coming through?
It's tough to say. We've got players at different stages of their careers at the moment. Players who've had, as I say, different paths and playing in different leagues at different levels. Obviously, the development of the game in the last 20 years has been quite dramatic across world football, not just in where we are. And as you can say, of course, in 2006 we had players playing in Premier League, playing at the highest level, but and we didn't have that in Qatar yet. We performed equally as well. So it's of course, international football is an interesting dynamic now. I think we're seeing it's less important where players play the domestic football, and it's more about the dynamic of the team. And I think we've shown, again against Mexico and in recent weeks, that we're capable of competing at this level, despite not having players that maybe play at Premier League level.
What about your ambitions at 27 now? Is that right? 27?
My age?
Yeah.
30, mate.
30?
Yeah.
Oh, you look younger than that.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Have you got any sort of great ambition about coming back to Britain? You were a big hit in Scotland for all those years. Are you thinking, no, my career's now in Germany and I'm going to be sticking there?
I'm as ambitious as I've ever been in my career, and in the second Bundesliga, we've had a fantastic start. We're undefeated so far this season. My ambition is purely to get St. Pauli into the Bundesliga and compete in a top 5 league. It's incredibly exciting league. The football is fantastic. I love it. I love the culture. I love the football culture. Everything about it. Not to say anything about the future, but anyone who has followed my path knows that I found a home kind of in Germany at the moment, and my sole focus is in domestic football, is trying to get a special club to the highest level.
How has playing in a different football culture for the first time in quite a long time for you? I mean, you spent really all your professional career in the UK, hadn't you?
Yeah.
How has playing in a different football culture different ideas, different ways of doing things. How has it helped you as an international?
Hugely. Learning the game tactically from a different perspective changes everything as you grow as a player. And experience is one thing, but working with different coaches with different philosophies, and the older you get, the more you're able to kind of embrace and understand that. And it definitely has helped me grow as a player, and probably brought me into the best form of my international career as well. Since I did move to Germany, it's given me a totally different understanding of the game, and I'm still now learning more than ever. And I think we tend to find that a lot with Australian players, that we develop probably in a different rate because of maybe the pathway and the journey that we go through in football. And as I say, for myself, I feel like I'm growing and improving all the time. And as I say, I think that cultural change and that footballing change has definitely improved me as a player at international level as well.
And what do you feel as a group is the next step for this national team? Because you've just had your joint most successful World Cup. I'm sure you've got lots of kind of internal targets about continuing to develop as a team and individuals and so on. But what's your practical target? Having just got to the last 16 of the World Cup, you're just starting the next World Cup cycle now. What do you aim for? What is realistic for Australia when it comes to, say, the next World Cup? Is it feasible to think about going beyond the last 16? Is it too early to think like that? What is this team aiming for?
Well, that's obviously the end goal of this process, is to get to another World Cup. For us, the immediate target is, obviously we have the Asian Cup coming up in January, our major confederation tournament, and we want to win it. We want to be competitive and be at the top end of that tournament. That's got to be our goal. And of course, automatic qualification. In the last 2 World Cup cycles, we've gone through the playoff drama, which we would very much hope to avoid this time round. So a successful Asian Cup campaign and automatic qualification is definitely the kind of realistic targets of this team. And then as we continue to develop, of course, you want to build on that success. It's not enough to want to say, yeah, okay, we got out of the group 4 years ago, that's enough for us. We want to continue to progress, of course.
And fingers crossed for you, you could be facing Harry Kane domestically next season. You'll be facing him on Friday. And how are you feeling about going up against Germany's newest football import?
Yeah, it was a huge moment for with Harry Kane coming to Germany, and turned a lot of heads, of course, and he's arguably the best number 9 in the world in terms of what he can do, scoring goals, but also creating play. And we know his quality, and as I say, in German football and international level, he's the very best, and that's the level we want to play at. And I played against a few of these players over the years in cup competitions and in other ways. But of course, that would be the dream to bring St. Pauli up against Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. Wouldn't be a bad way to go.
How big a story was it over there in Germany when he came?
Yeah, it was massive. Yeah, it was massive. I think no matter where he landed, it was going to be a massive story. As I say, he's probably the best centre forward in the world, so it was going to be a huge moment for whichever team he went to. But for Bayern, I think it was a massive moment after losing Lewandowski to kind of fill that hole. So yeah, I think it was huge news.
Jackson, just a quick fitness one. Saw you with the ice on the end of training yesterday. You're all good to go Friday night, no worries at all?
Yeah, just precautionary. Obviously, I picked up that ankle injury over in Dallas, and kind of had a pretty, really quick recovery, and came straight back into the team on Saturday. And I've played a lot of football over the last months and everything. So yeah, just precautionary and keeping myself ready to go at the maximum for Friday.
Obviously, asked about taking on Harry Kane, but it's a pretty big midfield battle as well. How big is the challenge in front of you guys?
Yeah, of course. Individual quality at international level is always immense, and we know the players, we know what they're capable of, and as you say, when you come up against this caliber of player, it all kind of goes to the background. You know that every team at this level is capable of hurting you with that, but it's all got to be about structure and playing as a unit, and that, as I said, that team dynamic that we bring, and that's got to be our focus. And Obviously, you want to nullify their threats, but for us, we've got to focus on our own performance and put in the best display we can.
Jacko, just having Mas Luongo back in the squad and in the team, first of all, how exciting is that for you? Obviously, he's been a mainstay for the past 4 years, but do you think he adds a different dynamic to the midfield as well, especially with what he's been doing for Ipswich?
Absolutely. You know, one of our most talented players. Absolutely, he's been obviously. It's just even from a personal level, is you know, an old mate of mine, and to have him back here is huge. He brings a wealth of experience. He's played at you know, more games than most of the players here, even though he's been absent for a few years. And seeing his kind of resurgence into championship level, where he's more than capable of playing at and showing that he's one of the better midfielders at that level, it's hugely important to us. And delighted to see him back, and can't wait to see him in a Socceroos jersey again, that's for sure.
Jackson, who is of the current Socceroos, who's the player that excites you? Somebody within the squad that you look at and think, what future he's got?
Oh, there's loads. And that's not just players who are present here, that's players playing domestically in the A-League, young players that are making their first moves into Europe. Every camp it feels like there's 2 or 3 that come in that, you know, you can see glimmers of their potential. And you know, we're in that period now where these players are starting to build their careers in Europe and also in the A-League, and that development is going to be really exciting over the next few years. And we've got that good combination of experience and those younger players as well. And I think as I say, the future in that regard is going to be bright, and it's just about finding that balance of when for them to come in here and make their mark.
Motura is probably the newest one, right? Training on with the team. I'm sure you've seen some of what he did for Adelaide before he moved to France. How much does he just, taking him as an example, excite you with his potential? Yeah,
of course. He's, you see it even just in glimpses at training yesterday in the first on-field session with him, and he's got immense quality and obviously physical attributes that can be extremely helpful for this team. And he's another one, and Patrick Yazbek as well, who I saw yesterday for the first time. Really looks composed and calm, and you know, these young players, they come in with such a confidence and composure, which is, can be rare for young players at international level. So it's exciting to see new faces all the time and welcome them into the group. And as I say, their pathway over the next few years is going to be exciting to follow.
Young player, you see quite a bit of his kind of Metcalf, obviously, as well. I was just curious how you sort of seen him develop and how he's going to change since he's made the move over to Germany, I guess, and what you sort of see his potential in ceiling at. I don't need to probably say how highly I rate Connor and what a teammate and player that he is. He's been a huge part of since we've kind of had the change of manager and the success we've had since January. He's been played a huge role in that. He's had to be a bit more versatile in his role within the team as well, but he's just, he's, as I say, he's a top teammate. He's got such great quality. I thought he did really well against Mexico, again in kind of a newer role for him in terms of the way he's been playing recently. But we've seen with a couple of goals he scored this month, the quality he possesses in the final third, as well as all his other attributes. But he's a fantastic young player. He's been a huge part of why we've been successful over the last 9 months at St. Pauli, and I'm just even more excited to see how he keeps growing as a Socceroo.
Could I just ask also about what do you think about Jude Bellingham? Is there a hotter player in world football at the moment?
Probably not. It's just been incredible to watch. It's funny. I played against him in the championship when he was at Birmingham, and I played against him in the Pokal in Germany with St. Pauli a couple of years ago. And it's to see now a player of that age making that mark at that level. There's nothing left to say. Everything's been said. Everyone can see the result of what he's got and what he's brought and the way he carries himself. And he's arguably the best player in the world at the moment, like in a lot of ways. And it's going to be another exciting test to come up against a player of that caliber who's in the form that he is.
and yeah, we'll see how we go with that on Friday night.
Did you recognise? Did you recognise how good he was even then when you were up against him? You thought, blimey.
Yeah. Well, I remember the first time I played against him in the championship, and I don't even know if he was 16 yet. I think he was like 15 and 10, 11 months or something like that. The first time I played against him, and you just doesn't make sense. It doesn't compute in your brain that a player can play like that at that age. And his growth and development is just, the whole world's watched him, and he seems to have taken it all in his stride, and that's a testament to a kind of character as well. And see it now doing it at the biggest stage at the biggest club in the world. So it's going to be exciting to come against a player. As I say, there's numerous players that you've crossed paths with over the years, of course, like Jared Bowen and Fikayo Tomori. I played with at Hull City as well, and it's going to be an exciting night on Friday night.
Just two for us, sorry Jackson. What does the Australia-England rivalry mean to you, whether it's sporting, from other codes, bit of football, or cultural as well? Obviously you lived here for ages as well, so what does that mean to come up with them?
Yeah, of course it crosses into other sports, and probably more so in other sports than our own, but we'll be looking to bring a little bit of that fire that kind of exists between two proud sporting nations on Friday night. So yeah, got to bring a little bit of that substance that comes from that rivalry, and use it to motivate yourself on Friday.
And one game at a time aside, looking ahead to the Kiwis next week as well, what are you looking to get out of that, whether it's continued development of the team and the boys, or the chance to lift a trophy as well?
Yeah, a bit of everything. There's something at stake, which is always, gives things a little bit more of an edge. And of course, another exciting young team with some really good players. When we played them a year or two ago, when we played them in Australia, caused us a lot of problems as well. Like, good side, got some really talented players, and obviously a centre forward that's playing here in the Premier League at the highest level. So it'd be another tough test, and a chance for us to, as you say, win something, but continue on the path that we're on. So obviously one step at a time, but it's a great window for us to be here and be a part of two exciting games.